Welcome back to Scottish Man Cave and welcome to this video. If you like this kind of content, let me know in the comments, guys. It's a bit different to what I normally do, but I want to discuss the topic about why men are, choosing gaming over dating right now, and just the state of dating in this day and age. And I'm going to tell my personal experiences as well on this kind of subject, but to go back to, I would say the early 2010s, up towards before the COVID pandemic, the way I used to meet women was through the dating apps, through, your Tinders, Badoos, Bumbles, all that kind of thing. And the other way was, meeting girls on the sesh, in the nightclubs and stuff like that. And it's become very difficult for men, I think, especially in the last, I would say, 5 years or so, because the dating apps in particular was a great way that I used to meet women, and I would get a good amount of matches, I would say. And one thing I will say is, I would say I've always been like the average kind of guy. I'm not your Chad or anything like that, but I've been successful with women, I would say. And I've met quite a lot of women on these like dating apps in the past. So it's kind of weird how it's all came about, and why I'm kind of passionate about this subject, I guess. But going back to, I would say when I was in my peak, 2014 and stuff, I was meeting women, going on dates, all that kind of stuff. And I was getting a good amount of matches. Now, would I say hundreds and hundreds of matches? Absolutely not. But I was getting a good amount where I was converting, these matches into dates and stuff. And, some of them were, flings, other ones were relationships and stuff. But these dating companies in particular, they have made it a lot harder now for men. It's actually crazy how, bad these apps have gotten over the years. Before you had about a fair chance, but now, for every, I think it's 100 likes you give on Tinder, you only get one match, which is just mental. Absolutely mental. Like, the success ratio is like so against men. You've got to be like the top 1% of men to like be successful on these dating apps, which is just crazy. Now, I will say this. So I've obviously aged since, my prime. And back then, as I say, I was getting quite a lot of matches and, a lot of dates and stuff. And I haven't got ugly overnight. Now, am I older? Yes. But I'm not ugly, you know what I mean? But for some reason it's more, I don't know, the older I get, the matches have dwindled. But I will say this as well. I think it's an issue for, people in the early 20s now, which wasn't an issue back then. I think it's just, these dating companies are toxic as hell, and they're greedy, and they don't want men matching with women. They don't want men having relationships with women, and that's the problem. Another problem I feel with dating right now is, because of these dating apps, women have an unrealistic expectation of men now, and they expect you to be over 6 foot. They expect you to, wine and dine them on the first date. And, you've got to give them that 5-course meal with a steak. And, yeah, you've got to be absolutely minted with money as well. You've got to be rich. And I think partly it's to do with women now working more. I would say they're more independent, which is a great thing. But the expectations on men right now, like, women are more educated than men, and that is an actual statistical fact right now. Men, traditionally I've always, done the hard labour kind of work. In my case, I worked in oil and gas for over 10 years, so, that's a dirty kind of job, but it was well paid at the time. But what I've realised is, these kind of jobs, especially in oil and gas, the wages has went down, which is just absolutely crazy, and that's a different kind of subject I will speak about in the future. But I think women have this unrealistic expectation of men. They've got to be earning six figures, and they've got to be, I would say super fit body, which is fair enough. I think fitness does play a key role in dating as well. And when I was in my prime, I probably was a lot fitter than what I am now, but I'm not exactly out of shape either, and I haven't just got ugly overnight. So I do still get matches from time to time, but I will say it's not the standard I once had as well. Tinder, and I hate to say this, because I'm an average guy, or most of your average guys, you're getting way below average women as well. And the high above women, I will say, are only getting that 1%, which is Chad. So it's not designed for your, average guy, I would say. Now, there is the flip side to that, and something which, again, I'm kind of exploring right now. So, as I say, my traditional way of meeting women was the nightclubs, the bars, all that kind of thing. And as I've gotten older, I'm in my 30s now, I don't really want to be going out in the sesh, in the town, getting drunk all the time. And one thing I've noticed as well is, there's not a lot of people my age now. They're all in their teens and stuff, which is just not for me, I'm afraid. I know it can be for some guys, but for me, I'm not interested in, 18, 19, 20-year-olds. It's not my thing. So I've had to learn how to adapt, and that's one thing I'm working on right now. So, going to groups such as a media course, for example, try to find people that have the same passions as me, for example. So, unfortunately, the group I'm in, there's no women that's really stuck out to me right now, but I think that's the best pathway to actually meeting women in this day and age, because I think it's safe to say a lot of men are lonely right now, so they turn loneliness into gaming, for example, or other kind of hobbies and stuff. And I think women are why is men gaming all the time? Why are they not dating? I think it's because women, as I say, have that unrealistic expectation. So men have kind of resigned to the fact that, especially in their 30s, they're going to be lonely. They've just accepted that they're not going to have any girlfriends or anything like that. And for me, for my case, I've been single for just over 4 or 5 years right now. And, when I was younger, as you say, I did enjoy, having that bachelor kind of lifestyle. And that's the other thing as well. A lot of men have a lot of expectations from, the baby boomers, their parents and stuff, who traditionally got married in their early 20s and, have been married for so long. That's the expectation men have. I get asked on a consistent basis, when are you getting a girlfriend? And it's not because I can't, it's because, as I say, that unrealistic expectation of men right now is just through the roof. And eventually, I'm pretty confident I will meet a lassie within the next couple of years and stuff. But, I do have aspirations of settling down and all that. But I think it's a struggle for a lot of men, and I feel sorry for maybe the below average men that, might not be classed as a 6 or a 7 kind of thing. So it's very tough right now. And I think social media is massively to blame as well. You just look at that TikToks, and you look at these girls doing these OnlyFans, and they can make money on the internet because they're taking advantage of lonely men, I guess. and I think just society in general, like, where's your old school kind of women, you know? Where's like the ones that, you know, don't have that big expectation? And I think what's funny is there's a lot of women that's gaming as well right now. So I think, you know, men that are gamers should be looking for maybe women that are also gamers as well, that don't go out with the girls all the time and, you know, get drunk, you know, doing the dirty with different men and stuff. Because that's another issue as well. You know, you see a lot of, like, nice guys, and they're very secure, and they're not boring. I think it's, you know, when I hear somebody say, oh, they're boring, it's quite mean. I think, especially with myself, I don't think I'm boring anyway. Like, I know how to laugh a girl to bed, quote unquote, but, you know, a lot of men maybe do struggle with that, I would say. Like, you know, once you're in my company and I'm comfortable with you, I'm, like, hilarious without even trying to be. But, you know, that can be an issue for a lot of guys as well. And, again, a lot of women can't accept, you know, just that, like, average kind of guy. They've got to have that, you know, guy that's absolutely minted, that's on like 100k a year. But the flip side of that is, you know, that guy that could be in that corporate job that's earning big money, they're miserable. You know, Chad is miserable. You know, I don't think Chad's is what's that guy's name that is an absolute idiot? Andrew Tate. He's a Chad. He's a Chad, probably. That is a whole different subject that I could probably do. So if you like this kind of video, let me know, guys, in the comments, and I can definitely speak about the likes of Andrew Tate and, you know, how I feel they, on a different perspective, you know, lay down on women. They treat women, you know, with no respect, really. You know, there's that balance. I would actually say I'm very old school. As I say, you know, I keep getting called a bachelor from my mum, but she doesn't know that I haven't actually been, you know, seeing women for about a year now. And that is on purpose. It's not that I can't, it's because I choose not to, basically, because, you know, I'm not like prostituting myself out to women, you know. I'm not, you know, when I was in my early 20s, when I was like going with different women, they were at a high standard, I would say. But again, you're younger back then, it's more acceptable, and, you know, you're still growing as a man. Like, I don't regret being single in my 30s because I had a lot of fun in my 20s. And, you know, on the flip side, a lot of men that were married in their early 20s, and women, they're divorced, or, you know, one's cheated on the other because they don't. And there is rare cases where that doesn't happen, but, you know, they haven't lived. And I feel like I did live in my 20s. You know, like, I think, you know, near the end of my late 20s to now, where I'm, yeah, okay, I've had my fun, I'm ready to, like, settle down a bit more. But, you know, I'm not just gonna go for anybody, you know what I mean? It's like, I know myself and my own personal growth. Yeah, I need to get to the gym. I need to, if I do want to settle down, I need to stay fit and get fitter. But I'm still average, you know what I mean? I'm not ugly overnight. My facial features haven't changed in the last 5 years or 10 years. So it's, I know the kind of women I can attract. So that's not an issue. But I think it's more a society issue right now. That's why I came off all social media. The only social media I've got now is, you know, Scottish Man Cave is my brand, you know, not my personal own social media to, like, chat with women or, you know, have my friends on there and stuff. Like, all my contacts are on WhatsApp and stuff. I don't even bother with TikTok or social media unless it's for Scottish Man Cave, because this is me building my brand. But yeah, it's one of them things where the dating apps are against you. Women have higher expectations than they did even 10 years ago. I think 10 years ago, women didn't have that expectation as much. They were still independent, I would say, but they didn't have as high expectations. And I blame TikTok, I blame Instagram, I blame social media in general. I think that is, one of the big issues with, how it's kind of changed women's thought process. As I say, they might be looking for that 6'1" Chad, for example, but as soon as they put that settings on, and they could be like 5'4", let's bear in mind that as well. They could be 5'4" and they're wanting a 6' guy, right? But as soon as they put the filters on for a 6'2" guy, because that's the perfect man, that's automatically singling out every other guy that's just under 6 foot, for example. And she's not seeing them men on these dating apps. But let me know in the comments, guys, as well. Let me know, especially if you're in your late 20s, early 30s like myself. What's your experiences with these like dating apps, or just women in society in general? Because as I say, I don't need dating apps to meet women. I'm very confident with women anyway. I can go up and just chat to a random girl, no problem. That's not an issue. But again, my own personal choice was to have a good couple of years to myself, to build on myself and focus on myself and grow as an individual. I feel a relationship, especially in the last 2 years, would have been a distraction to my own personal growth, I feel. Which, it could have went either way, if relationships come and go kind of thing. It could be, it's definitely now. I think back then I wasn't ready for a relationship because I had a lot going on in my life anyway. That wasn't to do with relationships. So I feel now I'm definitely ready. I'm confident enough. But again, it's more finding that right person now. You're never going to find your wife in a nightclub, I don't think. There's rare cases you do, but I think those days now for me are done. In terms of especially meeting women, everyone's done it. You've met a lassie in a nightclub and you've went back to their place and stuff. Done it a million times, And again, here's another flip side of the coin. I absolutely despise guys. There's actually, I won't name the person, but somebody recently asked me, what's your body count? I fucking despise when somebody says that. Number one, they're showing how insecure they are, and number two, they've got no respect for women. And I absolutely despise when somebody says that. I've been with like 40 girls this year. I've been with 100 women. You know what I mean? Like, I despise that. Now, is my body count high? I would say it's decent enough, but I've always been one for quality over quantity. I've always been that kind of way, and there's no shame, for like guys that, maybe I've never been with women before and they're like in their mid-20s. It will happen. Again, it's more just, I think guys that I've went to gaming because they're so disengaged with dating right now because of society. I think your best bet is a girl that likes to game, or your goody two shoes, bookworm kind of girl that doesn't go out with the girls and get absolutely blazing and meets a Chad or meets a super rich guy or something like that. Like, your best bet is that goody two shoes girl that doesn't like going out too much and is pretty much a hermit. And that's kind of one thing I've kind of I would say over the last 2 years especially, is I've become a hermit. I don't enjoy going out drinking anymore. It's actually a miracle that I've not been in much trouble going out, especially in Aberdeen. Like, I've witnessed so many things where guys getting headbutted for no reason and stuff like that. So I've kind of been lucky in that respect, and as I say, I feel I've had a great run. But I think going forward, you've got to find, especially with myself, right now, I'm really wanting to make this Scottish Man Cave a full-time thing. I think that's my goal. I am not built for the 9 to 5 job, and that will be another discussion I will do in the future. But I am not built for a 9 to 5. So it's you know, I've not got a lot of money. You know, I'm not, you know, got 6 figures in the bank. It's going to take time for me to build this brand. It's maybe take me 2 to 3 years before I can really start making money on this Scottish Man Cave thing. And, you know, at the end of the day, if a woman's not prepared to accept that, then you're not worth my time, you know. Because, like, as I say, I know, like, a lot of girls right now, they're independent, they're working, but there was a time where the man had to go out and work, and, you know, at the end of the day, the man would be miserable. And I think that's the big thing as well. And again, I will discuss this in another video, but a lot of like Gen Z and a lot of, you know, 90s men are fed up with being like a slave to society, like a slave to work, a slave to, you know, the regular 9 to 5, and, you know, being treated like shit and all that kind of stuff. But that is a different topic for another day. But yeah, guys, that is just, you know, a brief insight into what I think, you know, with dating in general in 2025. But let me know in the comments your experiences as well. And yeah, I think, as I say, most men right now are happy playing their video games. So yeah, guys, thank you very much for watching. Hit that subscribe button if you really like this, and the like button as well. It helps the algorithm. I would love this video to spread the word, to see how everyone is feeling. And yeah, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Ciao.